unfortunately, I'm going to have to start with injury news again. How's Ben Hamer after coming off at halftime? How's his groin?
He doesn't have any important injury, but now he need to stay some days off, trying to recover the point that he has in the groin. Then he's not going to be available for the next game.
Do you know who's going to replace Ben? If you made your mind up in that case, will it be Ryan or
Joel Pereira, one of the both players?
Good stuff. And Danny Ward also came off with a hamstring. How's Danny?
Danny is going to be a little bit more of time. He will be around a couple of weeks. Fortunately, it wasn't a very important injury. It's not the same type of injury that he had before in the pre-season. It's not in the same way of the hamstring, but he will be around 14 days out of the team.
We'll go back a couple of weeks. Do you have an update on Jonathan Hogg at all?
Yes, Hogg was training yesterday and today with the group, and he's going to be available to be with the squad.
Stuff. One thing that caught our eye on Saturday was at halftime with the scoreline, Pieper and Eiting on the bench. Is there more to why you left them on the bench? Some may say that you wanted some more experience or some of the more senior players on the pitch in that second half. Can you enlighten us why you didn't call upon them?
I think, first of all, I decided to play with the first 11 with 9 players that they were in the first 11 or regularly or in a lot of times. We play with Behema as a keeper, we play with Toffol as a left back, we play with Navisar as a left central back, with Edmond Green as a right central back. These players are always playing. At the same time, we play in the middle with O'Brien, who is playing the last games too. And we put Pritchard or Bacuna. Both have been part of the team. They have been the first 11 in many chances and many games, and they both recovered to be in the first 11 of the team. We put in the first 11 to Danny Ward, who was in some games too, and he needs to be one of our important players during this year. So I think we only covered in the team 2 positions when we needed to make a changes and we needed to make the decision. The first one was because the injury, and the last player that I told you was Adam Kabir, that he was playing sometimes too in the first 11, like for example in the game of Millwall, in the game of Wickham, or in the game of Luton. So we are playing with, for me, enough number of players. They have to be in the first 11 of the team, or they have been in the first 11 of the team, and they are important players for our squad too. Only 2 positions where we need to make a decision was in the right back, because the medical advice from Pipa is that to manage well his hamstring, his previous injury in the hamstring. That's why we decided that to play more than 2 consecutive games after the injury that he had in the short time that we are playing, increase the risk to have another injury. That's why I decided to don't play with Pipa, knowing that he's an important player for us. Instead of Pipa, was playing Aaron Rowe because Demico was injured too. Is the other player that can play in this position. That's why he played. And the last player that I need to replace was Josh Coloma, because we know that he's going to be around 3 or 4 months out of the team. And it's one position that we need to cover. And I covered this position with one left back who can play as a winger too, that is Brown, someone that didn't have any start in the first 11. The same of Aaron Rowe. For me were the 2 positions that I cover with players with less experience, because always the important thing is to, like you say, to try to win experience, trying to add players to the squad, because we know that this championship is going to be impossible to play with just 11 players.
Is it a case then going into tomorrow's game, if Pieper and Eiting have the go-ahead, you will be looking for them to come back in?
In the previous days before the Bournemouth game, Karel Eiting couldn't train because his process of recovery was not the perfect one. We know that his availability, so we know that I could use him during the game, but in the moment I think we were losing 3-0 the game in the first 20 minutes. Knowing the level of the difficulty, for me it's important to add more players that can, in one moment of the season, we are going to need them, because at the end we need to cover some gaps with the player that we have part of the squad. And
just on D'Amico Dehaney, have you got an update on his progress?
Yes, he was training yesterday with the group. He's available to be with the squad today. He was training today, and he will be in the squad too.
Good stuff. On post-match on Saturday, you said it was a case of looking back, analysing what went wrong and where the mistakes were. Now the dust has settled on Saturday, Carlos. What do you think went so wrong for your team on Saturday?
First of all, and it's for me the most important thing is that we didn't compete well. We didn't compete well this game. Before to can play well, we need to compete well. And in the first minutes of the game, I think we gave something very. We create advantages to Bournemouth, knowing that the quality that they have in the squad. So you cannot go to one game like Bournemouth and to give some advantage to them, because without creating an important chance, we concede 3 chances that I think we are in the conditions to can avoid. So first of all, in the first minutes, we didn't compete like we need to compete, because compete is not only to fight, compete is not only to run, compete is to be focused in a lot of details that we need to be focused. So for me, we participate in the goals that they score, and this is something that for me we need to stop. And after, with the pass of the minutes, we try to, in the moment you are losing 3-0 with one game like that one with a quality opponent like Bournemouth, it's going to be hard to change the dynamic of the game. Then in that moment, I always try to don't make that the players can give up in any minute of the game, because if you lose a little bit the face to the game versus this type of opponent, they can score 5, 6, 7, they cannot stop. Because if you start to relax, if you start to don't defend the result, because you start to see that it's difficult to win the game, you are going to suffer more goals, and it was exactly what happened in that game.
In terms of, as you as a coach, you say that the first 3 goals, you almost aided Bournemouth in them. What do you do on the training field after a game like that to make sure that doesn't happen in the next game and the next game? How do you work on that?
More than working the pitch, I think we need to work with the mind of our players. First of all, the level of the concentration have to be the higher level of concentration, especially when you are facing opponents with the quality like the striker that they have in the team, that Bournemouth have in the team. Of course, I know it's always a challenge to keep the concentration, to keep this level, to keep you in the 100% every 2 or 3 days. It's a challenge. It's a challenge for every player. It's a challenge for us. But at the same time, this is the challenge that the Championship has this year. So we need to be ready to adapt to these challenges. We need to be ready to compete well every 2 or 3 days. And for me, it's part of the responsibility that we need to have as a squad, to be always sure that we are in the necessary level to can compete well the games. So more than to aspects that you can work from the tactical point of view, I think aspects that we need to mentalize from the emotional point of view.
What about the players who came in on Saturday? What does the result and the performance tell you about those players?
About the Salih players.
Say again, sorry. There was a glitch.
Which players exactly you want to know?
So the players we left, Eiting, Pieper on the bench, the players who came in, so Diarra and some of the younger boys who came in. It's a difficult game to take part in. Diarra making his debut. What was the reaction from them?
No doubt it was a very difficult game. And for example, if we talk about Brahima Diarra, it was a difficult game, but at the same time, if we are thinking that these players are going to be part of this squad, if we are thinking that they can be important players in the future, in a short-term future for this club, they need to be, for me, exposed to adapt fast and to see the real level of the player, because never is the same to play one friendly game with a big team than to face one game of the Championship. It is not the same to face one normal game in Championship than one game that like a Bournemouth game. So, but at the same time, it's not the same to play one game when you are drawing or you are winning and you need to defend one result, or one game that you are losing the game. So we try to add some experience for players that are part of the squad, are part of the group that I have to coach, I have to command, part of the group of players that are working with them from the pre-season. That's why for me it's important that they live this type of experience, because help them to know what is the real demanding of the Championship.
In terms of the result, and you talked a lot about taking responsibility, which will be well received by the fans. How much pressure does that put on you on you personally off the back of a result like that?
I can put all the pressure in me. I don't have any problem about this. Like I say because it's true. Because when I made the decision in the first 11, I am the responsible of the first 11 that I decided to play this game. And at the same time, like I you, I have to be responsible to change the dynamic when we don't get a positive result. And at the same time, the players need to know that when they are in the pitch, they need to defend themselves. Everyone, when he's in the pitch, need to send a message about how we are as a team and how we are as a players and how I am as a coach too. So everyone, when we are in the pitch, we are talking. We don't talk here we have to talk here in the press conference, but the most important words that we can give is the behavior that we have on the pitch. And the other day, we didn't find our right performance, and I am the responsible of this because first of all, I selected the players, and because I couldn't get the team compete in the way that we want, in the way that we have to compete, and in the way that we did before, that we competed before in the previous times.
I was going to say, going forward into the Coventry game, is it a case for you looking at the positives from the Sheffield Wednesday game, the QPR game, the Middlesbrough game, and really focusing on them and the belief in the players and yourself to get a result and turn things around after Saturday?
I think always it's important to find the positive reaction after one negative result. First of all, this is the ambition that as a team we need to have, because we know how hard it is to lose one game. We know how hard it is to lose the game 5-0. And then, first of all, what we need to do now is to react, because we need to feel this pain, because we want to always to perform well. We know that we cannot, it's difficult to come win all the games in the league, but at the same time, we know that we cannot lose some of the values that we have as a team. And one of the values that we have as a team is the spirit to fight until the end, to never give up, and to compete well. And in some moments we didn't do enough well, or we didn't do in the level that we need to do, that we have to do, even if it's every 2 or 3 days, or if we lose some important players because the injury is the same, because there is not going to be any type of excuse. We need to compete well with the players that we are in the pitch. Then for me, this is the most important reaction that we want to looking forward to show. At the same time, we need to analyze not only the game when the things are working well, we need to analyze the game where the things didn't work well, because for me, in the back of the defeats, always there are many messages that you can read, that you have to face, that you need to see, and at the same time that you need to give the answer in the next game. So more than be thinking just in the result and the performance that we get when we get our positive results, we need to be watching at the same time what we did when we didn't perform well, because this is the thing that we need to avoid too.
And on tomorrow's opponents, Coventry, unbeaten in 7 games. What do you know of them so far, newly promoted up into the division?
I think they are making really well starting on the season. They didn't start in the same way that they are right now. For me, they have found one style of game where they feel now confidence, when they feel that they have players to play this style, and I think the coach is doing really well, because for me has a lot of merit to be 7 games consecutive without to receive one defeat in the score. At the same time, they draw 4 games. They won 3 of these 7 games. So I think this is something positive that talk a lot about the level of this team. They are a strong squad. For me, they start to play more with one idea, in one shape. They have changed now a little bit, and in this change, in this evolution, they have found the way how they can compete more in the leagues of the championship.
Carlos, thank you. Good luck for tomorrow night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alfie, anything to add?
Yeah, hi Carlos, how you doing?
Hello.
Just on coming out of such a heavy defeat on Saturday, how's the players' reaction been in training? Is morale high, or are they taking some time to recover from the scoreline?
I think both things. First of all, by the effort of always one game give you, and especially after the number of games that we are playing in a row. And the second thing is the reaction at the beginning of these 3 days that we have to prepare the next game. Always is the more painful days, because it's you are more close to the previous game than close to the next game. So when you are closer to the previous game, you still have the feeling of the previous game. But I think it's something necessary, because if you don't feel this painful, it's impossible to change the one dynamic, or more than one dynamic to change one negative result in the next time. Because for me, the first part of this process have to be feel the pain to come after to change the situation. After this, in the moment you start to be closer to the next game, the feeling start to disappear, and you start to be more concentrated in the next game, and to prepare well the next game, and to recover well, and at the same time to be focusing on the task that the game is going to require, is going to demand, and to be ready to focus in with the best mentality that we need to have.
Okay, thank you. And just on Ben Hamer, you know, you've spoken about his injury, and I think last week you spoke about how important he is to the style of play that you want to implement, and his distribution especially. How much of a miss is he going to be this weekend?
We are full of confidence in all the keepers that I have in the club. Fortunately, I can have 3 very good goalkeepers because I have Ben Hamer, who was playing more minutes. I have Ryan Scofield and Joel Pereira too. And I think I am full of confidence with all our keepers that I have here in the squad.